Playing with Portals, an Arcane x My Hero Academia crossover, written by Briar A. Saronix, January 24th, 2025. Chapter 1, The Monster. After the inventors of hextech, Jace, Talus, and Victor mysteriously disappeared, taking hextech with them, Jinx set out to sea in search of more magical crystals to power her gadgets and gizmos. She saw some of the sights Runeterra had to offer, then set forth for the magical lands of Ionia in hopes of finding more magical blue stones. Luckily for Jinx, she was successful. After weeks searching the deep caves of Ionia, she found a huge stash of hextech crystals. She pocketed as many as she could and went back to her makeshift cabin in the woods. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Jinx turns to the entirely fictional person she made up. Shockingly, they say nothing. Buzzkill. Jinx goes back to working on the stones. She burned Jace's notebook when she burned down the last drop, an action she has come to gratefully regret. From her detailed memory of the notebook, she figured she'd be able to refine the stones all on her own, but Jinx made a miscalculation. After the bang of a hammer hit the stone, it exploded. Jinx wasn't physically hurt in the blast, but the same couldn't be said for her mentally. Shut up! Hallucinations filled her vision. Clagger, Milo, Vander, Silco, Isha, all dead. There also stood one disappointed Vi above them all. The hallucinations suddenly disappeared. Ha! That'll teach ya. Another blast happens from the stone. Before Jinx could react, a giant portal opens up. The portal keeps rapidly shifting between the colors of hextech blue and a deep, ominous purple. The portal starts to suck Jinx and her nearby items, parentheses, most of which were bombs and guns, in. In Central Hospital, the Nomu, Kurogiri, is being closely observed. He has been unresponsive his entire stay, but today he turned blue, and then purple, and blue again. At first the scientists were happy and hopeful, relating the blue color to the hair of Kurogiri's old identity, Oboro Shirikumo. Their hope quickly died when out of the portal jumped a blue and pink-haired girl and lots of weapons. The girl looked confused and like a frightened animal, ready to attack. And that she did. Jinx was confused. She had never seen a room so bright or machines so complicated. All around her she could see people in white coats, watching her. Most terrifying of all was the monster she had just come out of. He was also the most intriguing. The people in white coats approached Jinx, their faces turning to demonic scribbles. Jinx reached for her gun and fired. All around in a circle, she fired. All the people in white coats dropped dead. The monster had also been shot, but he remained perfectly still and intact, as if nothing had happened. Hello? Anybody in there? Jinx waved her hand over the monster's face, trying to get his attention. She then tried to tilt the monster's head back by placing her entire palm on the monster's face. The monster jerked as if recalling a memory. With that, he awoke. Shigaraki? Who? The monster stares for a moment and takes in his surroundings. He now sees the young girl before him is in fact not Shigaraki. Although he cannot explain it, she does still remind him of young Tomura. Forgive me, I am Kurogiri. Sounds Ionian enough. Never seen a place like this, though. The name is Japanese. Huh? Like the country that you are currently in? I think I know what happened. Jinx puts her hand up to her chin, thinking for a moment. I calibrated the stone wrong, duh, and then I accidentally got sent to another dimension. Whoops. No idea why it was through a weird shadow man, though. I have the power to create portals. You seem to have hijacked my body. Gross. So, are you a mage or something? Before Kurogiri could answer, more scientists enter the room. This time they are armed with guns and a small blonde man coughing up blood. Halt, villain, and random teenage girl. We'll be leaving now. Kurogiri opens a portal and grabs Jinx by the waist. Hey, wait, watch it! The little blood guy speeds towards the portal, but just misses the pair. Chapter 2. Meet the League of Villains. Before Jinx could even blink, she was transported somewhere new. She and her new monster friend, Kurogiri, were outside. The grass was greener than she'd ever seen before. Near them was an old rundown house. While the structure of the house was like something Jinx had never seen, the poor condition of the place screams on. It felt unfamiliar, and yet homey. This is where my team resides, I suppose you could call it. You? Team? What are they, smoke clouds in different colors of the rainbow? We are the League of Villains, outcasts of society from the oppression of pro-heroes. Pro-heroes? Kinda sounds enforcery. They do in fact help enforce the law. Pilties. I do not know what that is. Kurogiri walks over to the house's front door. He beckons Jinx to follow him. She hesitates, but she quickly realizes she has nowhere else to go. Outcasts seemed like her people anyway. Kurogiri opens the door, and inside the house is in even worse condition. On the sofa is a man with light blue hair hitting buttons on a device Jinx was trying to understand. Next to him was a lizard. Watching them play over their shoulders was a young blonde girl with a look in her eye Jinx could recognize. Standing across from them was a man with black hair who looked like he was falling apart. Sitting on the floor were two somethings. One was completely covered in a onesie that reminded Jinx of the male employees at Babette's shop. The other was wearing a mask with a face scribbled on top. He also had a fancy smancy top hat. Jinx wanted it. I've brought us a new recruit. Going a little fast, eh, bud? Let's introduce everyone. Kurogiri points to each person in the room and says their names. This is the young Tomura Shigaraki I mentioned earlier. Next to him is Spinner and Himiko Toga. Over there is Dabi, and those two are Jin Bubagawara and Atashiro Sako, or just twice in compress. Interesting names. I'm Jinx. What's your real name? Jinx? You're not getting the other one. So you brought us a League of Legends cosplayer. Interesting choice coming from you, Kurogiri. Isn't that the game All For One banned you from? Dabi snickers at this new tidbit. I'm an adult now. So, Jinx, what's your quirk? Quirk? People say I'm pretty quirky, I guess. Toga gets really close to Jinx. Too close. He means your special power. Oh, well, in that case. Jinx's eyes glow a bright pink, and then she speeds right over to Shigaraki in the blink of an eye. She left a trail of pink light behind her on the way. How's that for a quirk? Is that why you like Jinx? Because you have the same abilities? I am Jinx. This young lady popped out from my body portal and claimed to be from another dimension. Forgive her for not knowing what a quirk is. And that girl just happened to be Jinx from League of Legends? I'm not from something elitist sounding like that. I'm from Zaun, which is a region in League of Legends. Tomura, have you heard the theory of infinite universes? If there are infinite universes, then that means all fictional works are real. What, so I'm some book character? A video game. And a show. And a card game. And a phone game. Dabi looks annoyed. She gets it already. Jinx looks confused. She doesn't know what a video is and is trying to figure out what children's game would possibly have her as a character. Here, watch. Spinner takes out his phone and shows Jinx a clip from Arcane. The clip is of Jinx working on the hextech stone she stole from Jace. Jinx's eyes light up with excitement. The notebook! Give me that. Jinx swipes the phone away from Spinner. Jinx takes the unrefined hextech stones from her pocket. Shigaraki and Spinner look in awe of the stones. Does anyone have a hammer? Mr. Compress takes a marble out of his sleeve. From within, a hammer appears and is released into the world. Here, my dear. Why, thank you. Jinx does a cute, sarcastic curtsy at Mr. Compress. She studies the paused frame of the notebook on Spinner's phone. After a few seconds, she starts to hammer the hextech. Everyone watches Jinx work in silence. After a few minutes, the stone is completely round. Yes, thank you, Lizard Man. Don't call me that. Okay, Lizard Man. All that to round out your jewelry? It's not jewelry, it's hextech. Although putting it into jewelry could be smart. Jinx looks lost in thought, considering Dabi's idea. Shigaraki is still staring into the newly round stone. Jinx snaps back to reality. Well, I'll be going home now. Great to meet ya. Help me out, Purple Man. Wait, with that we may be able to beat the pro heroes. With a rock? It's not just a rock. It's a magical power source that can be used for deadly machines. Jinx is way too happy about her deadly machines, but such energy is welcome here. Her smile grows even wider when she comes up with a new exciting idea. She recalls how the stone interacted with Kurogiri's quirk as she learned these powers are called. She was interested to know more. I could maybe stay around if you tell me what these quirk thingies are. Chapter 3. Playing with Quirks. Quirks are like superpowers, or for you, like mages, except unlike in Runeterra, quirk users are the majority of the population. A world full of mages? Sounds chaotic. So, how do you get one? You are born with it, same as you inherit your parents' hair and eye colors. Genetic. Interesting. What can you all do? Anything I touch can turn to dust. I can suck someone's blood and become them. Dabi just ignites a blue flame in his hand and quickly gets rid of it before burning himself. I believe you saw what my marbles did earlier, dear. Lizard Man? Spinner reluctantly grabs on a wall and then gets down, twice as excited to share his quirk and creates a double of Jinx. Jinx is not pleased, to say the least. She grabs Pow Pow and shoots the clone. The clone then turns to a clay-like mush on the floor. I thought you enjoyed that. I knew you'd hate it. Jinx looks puzzled at the conflicting dialogue of the Gimp Man. Toga walks up to Jinx, excited to share more about her quirk. No one has ever been so positively fascinated with Toga's quirk before. She has her equipment in hand. This here is support gear. It helps enhance people's quirks. For example, Toga launches her device's syringe straight at Dobby. Before he can react, it takes a drop of his blood. The syringe retracts back to Toga, and she drinks the singular drop and turns into Dobby. Ta-da! Jinx is fascinated and claps up a storm, matching Toga's energy. Everyone in the room can tell those two will be great friends, for better or worse. One last thing. Who are the pro heroes? Think of them like enforcers. They are the only ones allowed to use their quirks in their jobs and use them to keep people in line. People like us are fighting against that society that encourages such heroes. Sounds like everyone else is a bunch of pilties. Shigaraki's face contorts to a faint smile. His favorite not-so-fictional character understands him perfectly. What a dream come true. Exactly. Toga yawns. It's late. I'm gonna head to bed. See you later, Jinxie-kun. We should all be heading to bed shortly. I'll show you to a spare room you can have, Jinx. Kurogiri escorts Jinx to her room, bids her adieu, and leaves her to think. How could she sleep with such a new playground full of toys? Jinx takes a stone out of her pocket and starts hammering away at them all. After an hour or so, her entire collection is as round as could be. Still excited, Jinx comes up with a bunch of potential ways she can make hextech interact with quirks. She figured they can be used as a sort of power enhancer based on how she upgraded Kurogiri's portal to reach her dimension. She couldn't get the thought of Toga out of her mind, someone who understands her way of thinking so well. Then it hit her. Blood. Quirks are genetic. It's in their blood. That must be why Toga is so drawn to it. Jinx sneaks out of her room and back into the common area where her and the League of Villains had been talking before. It seems they had all gone to bed by now. Jinx sees the equipment Toga left out and takes it. She sneaks into each bedroom in the house and takes blood from them using the machine. Jinx struggles to get blood from Kurogiri, but she does manage to get some mist. She figured it would work the same. Hopefully. Back in her room, Jinx squeezes out little droplets of blood onto the stones. The stones take the blood in as if it was always their own. They turn to the colors associated with the quirks of her new friends. Shigaraki's stone was black and gray like decay. Toga's was blood red. Spinner's was green like his scales. Dobby's was a similar color to original hextech to match his flames. Kurogiri's was purple. Mr. Compress's turned teal and looked exactly like his marbles. And Twice's was half black and half white. Jinx grabbed Toga's stone and drank some of Shigaraki's blood. The stone glue, and Jinx had turned into Shigaraki. Jinx cheered and then realized she needed to be more quiet. She caught herself on the table in her room, and then that table disintegrated. Toga never mentioned she could do that. It worked! Chapter 4. Hexstones and Headstones. By the time Jinx screamed, it was 6 a.m., late enough to wake up, but early enough where no one really wanted to. But they did. Toga was the one who opened Jinx's door. Toga was rubbing her eyes, clearly tired. What's going on? I've got a surprise! I like surprises. Toga walked away and started banging on everyone else's doors to wake up. After a few moments, they all come out and into the common area, some more pissed off than others. This better be good. Oh, it is. Jinx takes all the stones of her friends out of her pocket and lays them out on the table. You made your magic rocks rainbow? Congrats. No, I stole all your blood last night and infused them with the stones. Now your quirks are all upgraded. Dobby looks disturbed. Toga looks like she had just been flirted with. Observe. Jinx does the exact same display she did last night of using Toga's stone to turn into Shigaraki. She then grabs the table's leg and decays the table. Wow, I can do that? Thank you, thank you. Toga hugs her new blue-haired friend who currently looks like her old blue-haired friend. That table was expensive. Jinx turns back to normal and hands everyone their respective stones. Everyone accepts, except Dobby. Nope, don't need it. It's a free upgrade. Take it. Don't need it, don't want it. Dobby walks away and back to his room. Fine, more for me then. Everyone, besides Dobby, go outside to test out their new quirk enhancements. Jinx tests how Dobby's stone works inside her zapper gun, leading to it having more firepower. Literally. Shigaraki learns that his decay can spread and even home in on living things. Spinner is able to make his body twice as big, reminding Jinx of Vander in his final days. Mr. Compress is able to summon 10 whole marbles now. Exciting. Twice learns his imagination is his limit and can make copies of people who don't even exist. Both Toga and Kurogiri already know their new abilities. Parentheses, quirk copying, and portals to other dimensions. But Toga plays around with hers more. Kurogiri just watches everyone else. He's not currently interested in other dimensions when so much is to be done in this one. After everyone trains with their new quirk enhancements, they all gather for discussion. It's kind of hard to not accidentally decay the stone while using it. Oh, we could get some other straps and make chokers and bracelets. Sounds cute. We'll have to pick some up while we're out. Where are you going? We like to go visit the grave for Big Sis Magna every once in a while. We lost her in a business deal gone wrong. Mr. Compress waves and stares at his mechanical arm while stating that fact. Jinx figures the two events are related. The team grabs Dobby from his seclusion. They stop at 2 stores, one to get the leather straps and the other for flowers. Then they head to Magna's headstone, which they hid deep in a forest so no pro hero could ever ruin it. Everyone stares at the grave in silence. No one is very comfortable crying in front of each other. Toga eventually forms tears and kneels at Magna's grave. She places the flowers in front of the headstone. Even though Toga is the only one visibly crying, Jinx can tell from the expression on everyone's faces that Magna was truly loved and missed. Back at the hideout, the League of Villains are more fueled than ever to carry out their mission, for each other and for Magna. While speaking, Jinx is making all the hextech accessories. Why don't we just bomb UA? Well, that sounds awfully American. Their security is too good for that. Even with your fancy new jewelry, we'll never get anything done since we let them get that horned child. You're scared of a child? A child who can turn back the time of living things and undo all our work. Yes. She sounds dangerous. Surprised the government even lets her be alive. Everyone looks a bit disturbed from the revelations of what Jinx's life was probably like. I heard she even accidentally killed her father. How sad. How freeing. Jinx looks sadly empathetic towards the girl. She understands that pain. For some reason, Shigaraki feels he does as well, and he can read it on Jinx's face. He decides to try and take her mind off the fact twice shared. We can't even get to Aerie. She's holed up in the teacher's dorm at UA. Jinx snaps back to reality. How do you know that? We have our ways. It's a mole. Shigaraki looks upset like a kid whose cool, mysterious moment just got stolen. After more discussion, no one can really decide a next move. What they do decide is to pick it back up another day. Everyone goes to bed once again, except for Jinx, whose mind is reeling with even more possibilities. Chapter 5. The Z-Gun. Jinx couldn't stop thinking about the girl Dobby had mentioned for 2 main reasons. Aerie had such an amazing power Jinx knew she could use to her advantage, but she also felt pity for the girl. Jinx had noticed that quirks take on physical attributes, with Toga having sharp teeth to puncture her prey, and Spinner looking like an entirely different species. She remembered Dobby made a point to reference Aerie had a horn. Jinx figured her power must come from this horn. There were similar legends of these types of creatures on Runeterra as well. Speaking about Runeterra also reminded Jinx of her boy savior, Echo. She remembered the device he had that kept stuttering time, never letting her end her being. This device was a boring cylinder, not exactly Jinx's style. What was Jinx's style was a gun. Jinx came up with an idea, a gun powered by hextech and Aerie's horn. She called it the Z-Gun. It was a way of remembering Echo in this strange new world. Jinx stayed up all night yet again. She went out of the house in search of parts. She made sure to keep a mental map of where she was going. After she got all her needed parts, it was almost morning. Jinx got back into the hideout before anyone even knew she was gone. She spent hours constructing the gun and was able to complete all of it by the evening. All of it except the main power source, Aerie's horn. Hitting a roadblock, Jinx decided to take a quick nap. She woke up around 2 hours later. She was used to operating with little sleep, always feeling in danger in the streets of Zaun. She went out to the common area to see how everyone was doing. She hoped doing so would make that paranoid fear fade. Everyone was there, minding their own business. Dobby was on his phone? Shigaraki and Spinner were playing those video game things. Toga was painting twice his nails, and Kurogiri and Mr. Compress were having tea. Dobby glanced up from his phone. I thought you died. Hi, sleepyhead. Toga finishes up painting twice his nails and then beckons Jinx to join her. Jinx does so. What color do you want? Half blue, half pink on each nail, with the top and bottom colors alternating each finger. Oh, and with polka dots on the opposite color on each half. Toga looks a bit stunned at that request. Sorry, is that too much? Nope, that sounds fun. Toga begins to paint Jinx's nails, following her ridiculously complex request. Let's talk romance. Romance? You know, when you love someone so much you want to become them. I know what romance is, I've just never had anyone to talk about it with. My sister wasn't like that. You start. I don't want to choose who I like more. I love them both. There's this boy named Izuku at UA and a girl named Ochako as well. You love some heroes? Something feels different about them. I used to hate my sister for dating an enemy, but they worked well together. I was also interested in a rival of my own, but he was never a damn pelty. Go on. His name is Echo. He actually told me he visited an alternate universe where we were dating. I didn't fully believe him until I ended up here. There was also this cute blonde girl I met in Demacia. We were like polar opposites, but at the same time, I could tell we related to each other. You don't even know her name? I never got to ask. You should go back and ask one day. Jinx considers the idea, but she knew she had a job to do here first. Toga finishes painting Jinx's nails. They look exactly how Jinx had pictured. Yay, they turned out adorable. By now, everyone but Jinx, Toga, Shigaraki, and Spinner had gone to bed. Toga decides to join in on the sleeping. Jinx goes to see what a video game really is. Show me the game I'm supposedly in. Jinx hovers over Shigaraki from behind the couch. Shigaraki and Spinner boot up League of Legends Wild Rift on their handheld devices. Before getting into a match, the pair show Jinx the champion roster. That's me! And Vi, of course, made it. Ew, too many pilties in this game. Aw, there's Echo. And hey, that's the girl I was talking to Toga about. Huh, Lux. And there's the middle fortune cookie. Jinx watches the two play Wild Rift for hours. She makes them play as all the positive people she recognizes. She even cheers when Shigaraki, playing as Jinx, gets a kill on an enemy Caitlyn. While watching them play, Jinx braids Shigaraki's blue hair to match her own past braids that she missed quite dearly. Shigaraki briefly looks up at Jinx. Her face flashes to a young black-haired girl that he doesn't recognize, but at the same time he feels comforted by. Someone sisterly. He decides to let Jinx do whatever she wants to his hair. After hours of playing League of Legends, Shigaraki and Spinner were quite tilted, to say the least, and wanted to go to bed. Jinx didn't understand getting so mad at a game, but was also glad this meant she could sneak out to continue her surprise. Chapter 6. A Brief Trip to UA. Jinx was so excited to kickstart her surprise, but she knew she had to wait for everyone to fall into a deep sleep first. She messed around with Shigaraki's gaming device for a few hours. Jinx found Wild Rift a bit confusing to follow at times, but she did find a more simple game called Roblox that she enjoyed playing. Once she was sure everyone was asleep, she sneakily snuck into everyone's rooms to steal her needed equipment. She grabbed Toga's support gear, her gemstone, and a vial of blood marked Izuku-kun. She also stole Mr. Compress's stone, then off to UA she went. Jinx was able to find the building pretty easily. It was such a famous location that every map in Japan had it labeled. After a ride on a train, parentheses, which Jinx found to be very overstimulating, but also entertaining, she was at UA. Jinx put Toga's hextech choker on and drank from the vial labeled Izuku-kun. With an instant, Jinx had transformed into a dorky green boy. She did not understand Toga's taste in men. Due to looking like Izuku, Jinx was able to march right into UA in the dead of night. Within the school grounds was a map of the entire place. Jinx tracked down where the teacher dorms were and entered them. Jinx wondered why everyone considered this place high security. She figured that Izuku was a student based off his looks, so she was stealthy while in the dorms, hiding behind furniture as she moved. No one was awake to even catch her, but better safe than sorry. Jinx had no idea which room was going to be Aries until she saw a dorm whose whiteboard had the doodling of a little kid. The drawing was of a young blue-haired girl holding the hands of a taller green boy and a much larger yellow-haired boy with a red cape. Jinx entered the room, and sure enough, there lied a sleeping blue-haired girl with a horn. Jinx had thought of ways to take the horn off as painlessly as possible. She didn't want the girl to suffer, or worse, wake up and get Jinx caught. Jinx decided the best course of action was to use Mr. Compress's marbles to store the horn separately from Aries' body. Jinx's plan worked out perfectly. The girl never even flinched. Jinx looked at the marble containing the horn in her hand, then she let out a small whisper. "You're welcome, kid." Now little Aerie could never hurt the rest of her new or old family like Jinx had so many years ago. Jinx snuck out of UA the same way she got in. She turned back into her normal blue and pink-haired self and then hopped on another train back near the hideout. But she didn't quite go to the hideout yet. Jinx stopped in a nearby forest. She took the horn out of the marble and placed it in its designated slot in the Z-gun. Jinx spun the horn around in a circle and the gun lit up, ready for action. Jinx walked further into the forest and found the headstone. Chapter 7. Reunion. Jinx had made it to Magna's grave and started digging it out with her hands. Inside the dirt, she found a fairly nice-looking coffin. The League must have stolen it. Jinx propped it open, and inside was an interesting corpse, to say the least. There were only legs, no sign of a torso. Jinx hoped she didn't need all of Magna for this. Jinx pulls out the Z-gun. If this works, little Aries' quirk should affect an old corpse like you too. Jinx booped Magna's shoe as there was no nose to be booped. Jinx fired the gun at Magna's legs. Time seemed to reverse itself on Magna's corpse. The rot on her legs reversed into life, and then a backwards explosion brought her upper half back to life. We are free to decide for ourselves exactly where we belong. Magna looks ready to charge into battle, but stops mid-charge at Jinx. She looks confused. Why is there a girl here and not Overhaul? Wow, that actually worked. Ow! Jinx looked down at the gun in her hand and realized it was burning hot. She dropped it to the ground. She had some theories about this, but those aren't important right now. Who are you? I am Jinx. Jinx does a formal bow at Magna as if she was a ringmaster on stage. Mechanical genius extraordinaire, who brought you back to life? Jinx finally gets to boot Magna's nose. Magna looks mortified. Overhaul killed me? Is everyone else alright? That I know of. Jinx picks the gun up with a cloth. Jinx and Magna make their way over to the hideout. Jinx tells Magna to stay hidden outside. The League is surely up by now, and Jinx didn't want to ruin the suspense of the surprise. Jinx knocks on the door to the hideout. Dobby answers, armed with fire. Oh, it's just you. Shame. I wanted to meet some new people. Dobby puts his flames out. Jinx walks just barely into the hideout. I've got a surprise! Is it my birthday? It's certainly someone's birthday. You were pregnant? No! Just come outside. The League obliges. They all meet up outside. Alright, come on out. From behind a bush, Magnus steps out. The entire League is in silent jaw-drop disbelief. Toga and Twice start crying. Toga runs up and hugs Magna. Big sis, is that really you? Sure is, little sis. Magna pats Toga on the head. Toga cries and hugs Magna harder. Dobby arms his fire once again and confronts Jinx. How the hell did you do that? Jinx takes her wrapped up cloth and lays it on the ground. She unwraps it so the gun is visible. The League recognizes Ares' horn. You took her horn? And now we have control over her quirk. It's even upgraded too. The one teensy-weensy downside is it overheats when used. I bet if you used it like this, it'd cause an explosion, making everything in its vicinity turn to dust from the prehistoric age. Jinx said all this in a lighthearted tone, but no one else seemed to share that energy. I recommend avoiding that. It would probably hurt, and we want to keep the gun for more uses, right? Don't touch it for at least a day. I don't plan on it. The now fully complete team go inside and start planning their next move. They finally feel confident about winning this war. The team discusses strategy and decides to charge UA. Their trump card, using the Z-gun against Eraserhead. Chapter 8. The Big Battle. The plan was rather simple in nature. Use fish bones to nuke UA. Due to their security, this won't actually hurt anyone there, but it will be enough to wipe out the barrier and let the League in. After they're in, kill everyone in sight. All the Hero Course students and any pro heroes who join the battle. And of course, most importantly, shoot Eraserhead with the Z-gun. Jinx was told to look out for an emo, black-haired, tired older man. When the League got within range of UA, they launched Fishbones. No hesitation. A bubble formed around UA protecting the school and students, but the technology holding up the bubble had a much crueler fate. The entire security system had been blown to ashes. Now was their time to march. The gang made their way to UA. The students were already outside, alerted from the noise. They were in fighting stances. The teachers soon followed after them. Jinx kept a lookout for the emo one, but had yet to find him, and in the blink of an eye, the battle began. There was so much going on it was hard to track. What Jinx knows happened first was a young blonde kid with fury in his eyes charged at her, expelling explosion after explosion at her. Jinx loved this energy and matched it with her own explosions. Jinx was able to dodge all of the blonde kid's attacks with her shimmer, but the blonde boy was able to dodge all hers as well. With more explosions? Jinx noted the way he used explosions to move while fighting. She wanted to come up with a way to use that to travel and one-up the Firelight's hoverboards. Near the two arsonists was Shigaraki fighting the real Izuku-kun. Shigaraki was about to use his new homing in decay, but when he touched the ground, nothing happened. Jinx looked up to the roof of UA, and sure enough stood a very emo adult. That was Jinx's moment. She took the hextech stone out of the fishbone so its blast was less powerful. She shot herself up into the air just as the blonde boy did. She quickly reached the roof of UA. Next to the emo man was Eri. She was so small Jinx couldn't see her from the ground. This worked out perfectly in Jinx's favor. She didn't want to hurt Eri, but she knew she wouldn't need to. To ensure she was able to hit the emo man with her one bullet, she shot at the little girl, and sure enough, the man jumped in front of her to save her. Nothing visibly had happened to him. Not to the man, at least. Why aren't your eyes red anymore? That's when the man really analyzed the gun. He saw Ares' horn and got very, very angry. The scarf he had on seemed to take a mind of its own, and each strand went for Jinx. Jinx dodged it all and took out her low-level fish bones to explode back down to the battle. It would be pointless to fight two quirkless people when the League needed her. She made sure to grab the Z-gun and wrap it in cloth on the way down. Jinx got back to the fight below, but came to a concerning realization. None of the League had their quirks back. She looked back up at the UA roof, but the emo man wasn't even watching the fight? What gives? Shigaraki knew Jinx had shot the right guy, so what went wrong? He searched the entire place while dodging attacks from Izuku. He noticed practically every pro hero in Japan had shown up to this battle. He knew this wasn't good for them. That's when he saw on the roof of a random student dorm a blonde boy with a fascination for clocks, staring them all down with the same red eyes as the emo man. Shigaraki knew they were now stuck in the exact same position as if they hadn't used the gun on Eraser. All felt a bit more dire. They wouldn't be able to use the gun for another day. They can't hold out that long, but maybe they could use the gun sooner? While dodging an attack from Izuku, Shigaraki made sure to get close enough to Jinx to whisper her a new change of plans. When told about the plan, Jinx had the biggest smile on her face. You learned from the best. Jinx takes out the Z-gun, careful to hold it by the cloth. She takes the hextech crystal, powering it out, and replaces it with Dobby for extra firepower. She aims the gun and shoots it at an unassuming Izuku, who was too busy paying attention to Shigaraki to notice. But the shot didn't hit the green-haired boy. It hit the angry blonde one. Jinx didn't take him for a martyr, and yet he was. But it didn't matter. They'd all meet the same fate. Shigaraki called out to Kirigiri to teleport them all out. Kirigiri followed orders without hesitation. A portal opened for each League member to take. They all trusted Shigaraki and took their leave. Before Jinx left, she tossed the gun to the ground, leaving it at UA. She went through the portal, waving everyone and their quirks goodbye. Chapter 9. What comes next? Not even a day later, the news had only been covering the incident at UA. The final incident at UA. All the students from the top hero school in the country and all the pro heroes of Japan were now quirkless, all due to Jinx engineering and Shigaraki's quick thinking. No pro hero from any other country wanted to risk coming to Japan. No one had any idea that the League would never be able to create such a powerful device again, and no one wanted to find out. The League took this as their chance to shine. Jinx asked the simple, yet complicated question. What comes next? To destroy the pointless society and make room for only us. Jinx thought for a moment. As appealing as that idea was, she remembered the important words that Savika had spoken to her. You have the chance to rally Japan together. You're a symbol. So what are you planning? Shigaraki recognized that quote word for word. He understood Jinx wanted him to use this opportunity to do something better than Topside in Japan had ever done before. The League decided to overthrow the government of Japan. It was rather easy given Tomura's new homing decay ability. All he had to do was place his hands on the ground outside the main governing building, and the country was his. Jinx stayed in this world for a year, helping the League renovate the country into a better place. In that time, they removed laws banning unregulated use of quirks and banned pro-heroes altogether. The land was in a state of near anarchy, and yet with the pro-heroes gone, all the citizens gained more empathy for each other. They became the heroes in each other's lives. Jinx finished her last project in this world, rebuilding the remains of UA into a school for everyone, with a monument of the League of Freedom right near the entrance. It was time for Jinx to go. With her new medium-length blue and pink braided pigtails, she would carry the memories she made here back to Runeterra. Jinx and Himiko hugged each other goodbye. Jinx tried to hug Toya, to which he pushed her off and waved instead. Tomura did let Jinx hug him. It was the least he could do to say thank you. We'll miss you. No, we won't. Yes, we will. Jinx goes up to Jin and gives him a hug as well, and then ruffles up his not showing hair. I'll visit, silly. What are you going to do back home? Jinx smiles. I think it's time for a family revolution. Jinx nods to Kurogiri that she's ready to leave. He opens a portal using his hextech bracelet, and the League waves her off. She waves back and steps through the portal. An audiobook by yours truly, Jinx of the Nation of Zaun. Epilogue. Tomura left his bedroom within the Capitol building, groggy as ever. He was quickly awakened when he saw a book lying on the kitchen table. The cover was crudely drawn scribbles, the artist's style who he'd recognize any day. The cover was a drawing of the entire League, including Jinx. Tomura was honored to be the first step of Zaun's revolution. The end.